Bhagavan says the 14th chapter is most important of all the knowledges that he has given. How he has talked about Brahman, he has talked about Atma, he has talked about Bhakti, he has talked about Jnana. They are all important. How a topic on gunas. Guna itself, the word means secondary. Guna itself means secondary. How can a topic on the secondary one can be the highest? The reason is, it is these gunas that are covering the self, the Brahman, the God, in varieties of ways. If you can identify them and detach yourself from them, then you experience the Brahman that you are. Therefore, this topic is important. Therefore, this topic is very important. This is called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. There are only four dimensions. 3 dimensions are known to all of us: waking, dream, deep sleep, body, mind, intellect, bhuvaha, suvaha, past, present, future. All these are only in triplets. These are all known to us. But when there is something which is continuously changing, to maintain the continuity, there has to be a substratum. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are all changing. There has to be something other than Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sound. Supposing there is a continuous sound without silence, you can't even experience the syllables or the pronunciation or the words. You are able to differentiate the words, the letters, because of the silence supporting the sounds. That which supports these 3 is called the 4th, Turiya. In Sanskrit, 4th means Turiya. So the 3 dimensions are all known to us in various ways. The 4th one is that which supports it. So these 3 dimensions, all that we know, are made up of the 3 gunas. Gunas means qualities. For a transactional world, you need qualities, otherwise you can't transact. Also, for a transactional world, you need to think, intellect, sattva-guna. For a transactional world, you need to act, rajoguna. For a transactional world, you need to continuously change, destroy the old, bring out new one. Otherwise, there is no progress. This destruction for construction is tamoguna. Also, you need to rest. That's also tamoguna. So, for a transactional world, you need the 3 gunas. And Bhagavan himself takes these 3 gunas and functioning through them, he as though split into 3. He is not split. He just functions, uses the three gunas. When he uses the Sattva guna, he becomes the protector, Vishnu. When he uses the Rajoguna, he becomes Brahma, the creator. When he uses the Tamoguna, he becomes Shiva, the annihilator. We also, in the morning, you have to plan your work, Sattva-guna. Go to office, Rajoguna. Come back and rest, Tamoguna. Therefore, these three gunas are needed for all of us. But the problem comes, we identify with them and forget that we are the master for whom these three gunas are created by God to serve us. The body, the mind, the intellect, etc. We have lost sight of our being and we identify ourselves as the body, mind, intellect. Keep improper relationships, and therefore all our transactional world is a confusion created by likes and dislikes. There cannot be any peace in that. Your nature is peace. What you experience in sleep, when you have disconnected yourself with the mind, with the body, with the intellect, what you experience is bliss. That's your real nature. But on waking up, the mind comes. Mind is gunas, in fact. And these gunas cover the peace that you are. And therefore, you experience the jivahood. So if you want to regain your awareness and ascertain the God that you are, you have to withdraw from this mind, from these three gunas, from all the plurality, and feel the subject that you are. For this purpose, the entire treatise on gunas have been done in the 4th chapter. The gunas have been given to us not to master the various words that explain the gunas. The gunas have been told to us how we can identify them, number one, how we can manage them, how we can transcend them. Identify the gunas or identify the mind, manage the gunas, manage the mind, transcend the gunas, transcend the mind. It is for this purpose the gunas have been elaborately explained to us, to know it, to know these gunas through its various traits, its expressions, fields, results. All these things have been explained to us only to identify these gunas and to detach ourselves from them, assert the God that you are. This is the purpose. Right? So we will now take up the 5th verse. Sattvam rajaha tamaha iti gunaha prakriti sambhavaha. Prakriti is God's own nature. It's in him because he is all powerful. It is in him without his changing. It is in him without his changing can appear to be different. This power in him which makes the non-existent world appear as though existent is called Prakriti at macrocosm level, Maya in between, ignorance at individual level. Prakriti is in fact is nature, is potential to bring out the names and forms which are purely thoughts. The whole world is nothing but God's thoughts. Science have confirmed it. Max Planck, the one who has discovered atom, said mind is the matrix of matter. Mind is the matrix of matter. So therefore, all this world is nothing but the mind. Mind of God. Mind of God interpreted by your mind. Your mind is a product of the three gunas. Your three gunas are produced by his power called Maya. His power Maya splits into three, become your own traits for you to use. Unfortunately, you become a victim of them. And through that, your transactional world appears as though to exist. So these three gunas are nothing but Maya. Maya is nothing but the inseparable power of the Lord, also called Prakriti. Sun and sunlight can never be separated. Heat and fire cannot be separated. Nothing in this world can ever be separated from existence. Therefore, whatever was, whatever is, whatever will be, is all Brahman and Brahman and Brahman alone. Nothing but Brahman. If everything is Brahman, what is there to fear? What is there to be worried? Because you do not know they are Brahman. To know that they are all Brahman, you need to analyze what is not Brahman, negate them, and assert what is left over. That's all philosophy and religion. In all philosophy, mostly it talks about non-Brahman so that you can negate it, and what is left over is Brahman. So here he says, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. These are the three gunas born out of the Prakriti of Bhagavan. And through these three gunas, Nibadnanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam Agyayam. So these three gunas, though the individual is nothing but that Bhagavan who is himself indestructible, appears as though to bind this person using the three gunas. How they bind, we'll see. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukha Sangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Cha Anaka. Tatra, these are there. Sattvam, the Sattva Guna, its nature is Nirmalatvat, purity. Prakashakam, luminous. Anamayam, healthy, no disease. That's its nature. Sattva Guna is pure, luminous, no disease. But that also binds you. Sukha Sangena Badnati, Jnana Sangena Janaka. Sattva Guna, intellect. Sattva Guna, people who are peaceful. People who are quiet, not agitated. Because their mind is clear, pure, it says. And enlightened people, luminous, it says. And no confusions, Niramayam. Because Sattva-guna is Nirmalam, Prakashakam, Anamayam. It resists its opposites. Anamayam, no disease. Prakashakam, luminous. Nirmalam, pure. So, this Sattva-guna, when it is there, naturally man is peaceful. But man or anybody cannot function only with Sattva-guna. Sattva is intellect. What will intellect do without a body to function? These two are connected by another power called mind. These three has to be there for transactional life. Intellect is Sattva, mind is Rajas, body is Tamas. So therefore, there cannot be pure Sattva. The Sattva always has Rajas and Tamas too. But to a certain extent, this person can take it and happy. When agitations becomes more, his peace, his quietude, his tranquility, his purity is disturbed. So, in his resistance to this, he becomes bound by the very quality. He cannot stand impurity. He cannot stand agitation. He doesn't need many things in the world because his mind is clear, sattvic. But something disturbs his mind, he cannot take it. So that becomes a bondage. And continuously want to gain this information, that information, knowledge. That's again becomes a limitation on him. The very knowledge becomes a limitation on him. So therefore, the sattvic man, three traits. Nirmalam, Prakashakam, Anamayam. And two types of bondages. Sukha, comfort. Its comfort should not be disturbed. Jnana, knowledge. Through this he is bound. All this is why he said, what are you going to get by mastering this? No, you recognize these qualities in you and do not allow them to bind you. Try to use them, but detach from that also. Try to use the Sattva-guna, but detach from the Sattva-guna too. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi Krishna sangasamudbhavam tannibadnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinaha. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi Trishna sanga samudbhavam. It basically is of the nature of attachment, passion. And all the time wanting this, wanting that, because of its passion. Because of its passion. Because of the attachment. All the time it wants this, it wants that. Agitated to gain several things. Thirst. Krishna is thirst. Krishna is thirst. And Sangha Sama Udbhavam, born out of attachment. These are the traits of the Rajoguna. Attachment, thirst, attachment and thirst. And how does it limit you? How does it bind you? It binds you because you have thirst, you have attachment. All the time you want this, you want that. Therefore, what? You become restless. Therefore, what? You run after them. That is called karma. All the time wanting to do this, wanting to do that. And therefore, rajas binds you in the form of thirst and attachment through action. Sattva, nirmalam, prakashakam, anamayam. It binds you through sukha and jnana. Rajas, trishna, sangha, thirst and attachment binds you through karma. This rajasic man cannot keep quiet even for a split second. Even for us, all of us today, when we don't have work, continuously we are attached to WhatsApp, seeing what is coming to reply. You need something or other. Even in night, I'm talking about me also. Even when you get up and go to bathroom, you see the mobile, any message, right? So this is also an attachment. You need something from the outside world all the time, and therefore restless, therefore run after. And that way karma binds you. That way rajoguna binds you. So why are these gunas said? I told you to recognize them. One, to manage them. Two, to transcend them. Three. Gunas are identified through the mind. Find out if the mind is peaceful, it is sattvic. It's agitated, it is rajasic. It is dull, it is tamasic. So identify the guna, manage the guna, transcend the guna. Identify the mind, manage the mind, transcend the mind. That's the purpose. Why? Because it is this mind that covers my real nature. How you experience in sleep. When there is no mind, we don't experience the disease of the body or our day-to-day problems or our confusions at the intellectual level. Nothing are experienced when there is no mind. So therefore, the mind is the cause of all our limitations, which covers the real self that we are experienced in deep sleep. So to detach from the mind, but to use the mind, detach from the gunas, use the gunas. For that purpose, this chapter is given. And one more thing, this Gurudev personally told me when I asked a doubt. One more thing, when you feel sleepy, dull, tamas, come on, get into dynamic activity. Rajas. From tamas, move to rajas. From there, move to sattva-guna. Tamoguna, activate yourself through dynamism. Then prune it, Prune, and get established in sattva-guna. This Gurudev told me, change the gears from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, sattva to beyond. In our car also 4 gears, mainly. Here also 4 gears. Tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, sattva to beyond. And then tamoguna. Tamasaha tu ajnanajam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramada alasya nidrabihi tat nibadnati bharata. What is tamas? Born out of ignorance. All are born out of ignorance, but the first manifestation is tamas. Tamas, born out of ignorance, and through that what it does? Deludes, confuses you. It deludes you. You take the unreal to be real, real to be unreal. You take the unreal to be real, real to be unreal. You take what is good as bad for you, what is bad is good for you. Tamas. How many of us don't know this food is bad? But how many of us are not able to leave that? How many of us does not know this habit is bad? But how many of us are free from that? That is the power of tamas, to delude you, to confuse you, to delude you, to confuse you. How does it bind you? Pramada, laziness, inadvertence, carelessness. That's all pramada. Alasyam, laziness. Nidra, stupor, sleepy all the time. Through these three expressions, tamas, born out of ignorance, which deludes, binds you. So now he is summing up. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati, rajaha karmani bharata, jnanamavritya tu tamaha pramade sanjayati. Uta indeed. So, sattva binds you to sukha. It has been said earlier, he is summing up. Sattva binds you to comfort. Rajas binds you to action. Tamas binds you to heedlessness, carelessness, and make you get into all sorts of troubles. Rajas tamascha abhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamaha sattvam rajas tatha. I told you, you cannot be with only one guna at any time, because you have a body, you have a mind, you have an intellect. All the three gunas are there in you. But sometimes sattva is predominant. When it is predominant, it overpowers rajas and tamas. Sometimes rajas is predominant. That means it overpowers sattva and tamoguna. Sometimes tamas is predominant. It overcomes sattva guna, rajoguna. For you to seriously think, you have to overpower your agitations and sleep, inertia. For you to act dynamically, you have to control your inertia, and while acting, go on brooding. Like that, each one at times becomes predominant. And when you use them like that intelligently, it becomes creative. But it doesn't happen like that. You do not recognize. You become a victim of those gunas. You become a victim. Therefore, this analysis, how to know them, how to manage them, how to transcend them. And how to identify, he gives here some guidance. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyad vivruddham sattvamitchuta. Through all gates. What are the gates? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue. All these are gates which receive the knowledge. Eyes receive the forms, ears receive the sound, nose receives the smell. So all these gates are provided so that you gain stimuli from the external world. And sometimes you are alert, you are able to recognize them. Many times you are not alert. And when you are in sattva, you are alert, you receive all these things that are happening before you. You have the capacity to gain the knowledge through, they are very alert. They are getting the maximum through the eyes, through the ears, through the nose, etc. So when your sense organs are in a top gear to gain the knowledge through all of them, you are in Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is predominant in them. Right? Then Rajoguna. How do you know when Rajoguna is predominant? Lobha pravrittihi arambaha karmanam ashamaha spruha rajasyetani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshava. You know that you are in Rajoguna when these express in yourself. What? Lobha, greed. Pravrittihi, activity. Excess activity. Unwanted activity. Arambaha, want to start this, want to do this, want to do that. Arambaha. Not only this man is restless, he makes everybody restless. All the people in the internet would have known me. 83. How many times, how many people I went on telling you must do this, you must do that. Continuous. Why? That's my mind. Agitation, restlessness, Rajoguna. Then why are you teaching if you are like that? That is my mind. Bhagavan is using it to awaken all others. I have nothing to do with that. I am holding on to Bhagavan. My mind is restless. My mind is agitated. Why? Bhagavan is using it. I have nothing to do with that. I am holding on to Bhagavan. That is how you have to manage. Lobha pravrittihi arambaha karmanam ashamaha, restlessness through actions, spruha, attachment, longing, wanting all the time, rajaha etani jayante, when these things are expressing in you, then you understand in you rajas is predominant. In you rajas is predominant. How to know tamas is predominant? Aprakashaha, apravrittischa, pramado, moha evacha. Tamasyetani jayante vivruddhe gurunandana. Aprakashaha, complete darkness. He is not able to receive any signals. Complete inertia. Stupid fellow. Doesn't see anything. Total inertia. And slumber is not active. Apravrittischa, pramadaha, heedlessness, carelessness, procrastination, moha evacha, delusion. When these things happen in you, you understand tamoguna is predominant in you. Now, sattoguna predominant when he said, rajoguna predominant when he said, tamoguna predominant when he said. What is the use? Are all of them just to get information and to give a lecture? No. If tamoguna is predominant, go to rajoguna, change the gear as Gurudev said, by becoming dynamic. When you are dynamic, agitated, too much active, invoke quietude in yourself, contemplation, change the gear, go to Sattva-guna. When you are in Sattva-guna, see that light which illumines the Sattva, Rajo, Tamo gunas. From Sattva, transcend to Nirguna. Tamas to Rajas, Rajas to Sattva, Sattva to beyond the gunas. That is the purpose of all this analysis. And now, because it's a treatise, he takes all angles. He has told us up to now what are their basic traits, how do they bind you, what are their basic traits, how do they bind you, and how do they in turns dominate. Sattva-guna dominating sometime, Rajoguna dominating sometime, Tamo-guna dominating. Since this is a treatise, all aspects are to be given. What happens when you die in Sattva? What happens when you die in Rajoguna? What happens when you die in Tamo? Sir, you have said these gunas are discussed for me to know which guna I am, so that I can change the gear and transcend. Well, how does it help when I die? Which guna is there? That's not going to have any utility. No, it is there. So even in the last moment, when you are about to die, you completely shift your mind to Bhagavan. Bring it out from tamas and rajas. Let it rest in sattva. And then see that which is behind sattva. So there also you can lift yourself in the last moment. Antakalecha. And therefore this information is also useful. What happens when we die? At each guna he says, Yada sattve pravruddhetu pralayam yat dehabhrut tada uttama vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate. When he dies, when sattva guna is predominant, he reaches the higher worlds, fields of experiences. Swargaloka ityadi. But all of them are in your mind only, in this world only. When you leave the body in sattva, your next life will pick up where it left, and you will enjoy a greater quality of life. That's called lokas. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangeshu jayate tatha pralinaha tamasi mudayonishu jayate. Sattva-guna, they become devas, means illuminators. Illumined people are called devas. Rajoguna, dynamic people, business people or politicians. Rajoguna, if you die. Tamoguna, if you die, what happens? Mudayonishu will be born in a stone, plant, or animal. Sattva-guna, you can become an angel. Rajoguna, you can become a dynamic human being. Tamoguna, you can go to plant, stone, or tree. So you can also go back, yes. But this going back is not a permanent one. You have one aberration. To get rid of that aberration, you may sometimes go to the lower things, cleanse it, and come back. Bhagavata has any number of stories like that. Gajendra, crocodile which caught it, right? And Nruga, who became this thing, Anyway, Nruga, Bharata, Jada Bharata. So all these people have from highest dimension has to, for one life, take the animal, this thing, Rudrasura. Chitraketu has become Rudrasura, Asura. To get that from their mind, become pure. So You can go back. It's not that you cannot go back. You can go back. Druga, I told you, chameleon. He became a chameleon. And then what are the results you will get out of these three gunas? Karmanaha sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam. The results of karma in sattva are pure results. Rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasas phalam. The results of rajoguna, sorrow. The results that you get through tamoguna as inertia. Sattvic man, a pure man, he gets the results, he enjoys them clean life, clean and good life. Rajoguna man gets lot of things but can never be peaceful because his life, his activity is not clean and pure. Tamoguna is not aware of many things. He doesn't know. He has several diseases in him. He doesn't know them. He doesn't go to a doctor. And he eats things that should not be eaten. Like that, he destroys himself. Sattvat samjayate gnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramada moho tamaso bhavato ajnana mevacha. This has been said earlier, just a repetition. Through sattva you get gnana, through rajas you get lobha, through tamas heedlessness. These are the things that you acquire. Many a time repetition is necessary in Shastra because one time you don't get. In fact, this is a weakness for me. So many people introduce me so and so. I hear the name, but I can only remember when second time I ask him or if somebody says. First time I cannot remember. So also, the Shastra is said, you need reminders, therefore they remind. And this also said, now again is telling, urdhvam gacchanti sattvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaganya guna vrittis tatha, adho gacchanti tamasaha. Sattvic people, they go up, evolve. Rajoguna, they stay in the middle plane all the time. Tamoguna people will go down in evolution. Nanyam gunebhyat kartaram na anyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyacha param veti madbhavam sa adhigacchati. Underline this verse, completely meditate, practice it. You do not need any other thing. Somebody may ask me, like this you have said 4 or 5 times. Yes, there are 4 or 5 slokas like that. If one of them is enough. There are. I did tell you, I remember, you give up all your books, gift, you don't need, one verse is enough. Yes, there are 4 or 5. One of them is this. You understand it, you meditate on that, internalize it. You don't need any other Shastra. What does it say? Na anyaha gunebhyaha kartaram yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyaha param veti madbhavam sa adhigacchati. When somebody recognizes all actions are done by the gunas, Sattva makes you go after knowledge, makes you go after comfort. Rajoguna makes you run after greed and all that. Tamoguna, sleep. So you see that in you, the various gunas are functioning in the corresponding gunas outside. The gunas in you are seeking their fulfillment in the gunas outside. The guna, sattva guna in you seeks all the time knowledge. The rajoguna in you seeks all the time activity. Tamo guna in you seeks all the time sleep. So it is these gunas that make you do what you are doing. You, the self, is not doing anything. When you recognize this, I am not doing. Gunebhya param vetya. I am above the gunas. I am not affected by them. They are in me, Gurudev says. They are in me. I am not in them. They come, they go. I am not in them. If I am in them, when they go, I also go. No. They come, they go, they leave. I am not affected by them. Gunebhya param veti. I am beyond them. I am above them. I outlive them. Because I am there, they are functioning. When they are there, I am there, Anvaya. When they are not there, Vyatireka, even then I am there. Anvaya Vyatireka. When they are there, I am there. When they are not there also, I am there. This is meditation. All the time, see yourself as the witness, subject. Body is doing this, mind is doing this, intellect is doing this. I have nothing to do with that. I am beyond the gunas. Meditate on this, because all our problems belong to the body, mind, or intellect. And when you detach yourself, that the body, the mind, the intellect, the sattva, rajo, tamo gunas are playing in their fields. I am beyond them. You are not affected by them. So this is the ultimate of practice. Gunan yetan atitya trindehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkaihi vimukto amritamasnute. He now says why he taught you all these three gunas. He said, I taught you the three gunas not to get information, not to become erudite in these gunas. I taught you these three gunas so that you can cross over them. You can go beyond them. And why should I go beyond them? When you go beyond the three gunas, you go beyond this inevitable phenomena of change, expressing as birth, death, sukha, dukkha, etc. You become free from all these pairs of opposites. When you go beyond the gunas, to know the gunas is the first step, is to transcend them. Therefore, I have given you all the knowledge not to master intellectually, to transcend them. Now, Arjuna says, oh, that's the case. Then please tell me some guidelines. The same question was asked in Sthita Prajna. What are the hallmarks of a person who has gone beyond the three gunas, so that I can try to emulate him? That's the question. Arjuna vacha kairlingai strin gunan yetan atito bhavati prabho kimacharah katam chaitan strin gunan ativartate. So, lingaha means marks. Linga means marks. Through what are the marks through which I can recognize the person who has crossed the three gunas? And what's his conduct? Achara. And how does he go beyond the three gunas? How does he go beyond the three gunas? So Bhagavan now says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohamev cha pandava na dvesti sampravruttani na nibadhnati na nibadhnati na nivruttani kanchati na nivruttani kanchati. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva. Prakasham sattva pravritti rajoguna, moham tamoguna. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandav na dvesti sampravruttani nivruttani na kanchati. He is not hurt, disturbed when he recognizes them. When they leave him, he is not going after them. He doesn't court them. He doesn't resist them. Why? They do not belong to him. They have a role in the transactional life to conduct your body, your mind, your intellect. They are playing their roles. This man is a silent witness. He is not attached to them. Therefore, he doesn't court them or he doesn't resist them. Udasina vadasino gunebhyah na vichalyate guna vartanta ityeva yo avatishtati nengate na engate. He doesn't move. He doesn't move. How? Knowing that gunas are functioning. Gunas are functioning in the respective field. Third chapter, we got the same sentence. Guna guneshu vartante. Guna senses, guneshu in the objects, transact. Guna means object also. Senses transact in the sense objects. And he recognizes that and he becomes as though indifferent. Udasina vati asinaha. As though indifferent. Gunebhyaha na vichalyate. Sanskrit, every word is important. Udasina vati, as though indifferent. Is he really indifferent? No. Somebody needs some help. He has to be taken to doctor. He says all this is gunas. Does he keep quiet? No. He will take him to doctor. Somebody else got good news. He'll be happy for that minute. Somebody has met with a crisis. He is sad for that minute. But he doesn't enter into the theme. This is again Gurudev's word. He doesn't enter into the theme. He just recognizes, does what he has to do, but doesn't follow them. Therefore, it says, vati, as though indifferent. Not really indifferent, as though indifferent. And one more word he said, vichalyate. Chalyate, moved. Vichalyate, unduly perturbed. Unduly excited, unduly perturbed. He doesn't allow himself like that. How? Knowing that gunas, qualities, sense organs, guneshu, in the objects, vartante, they transact. He knows, he becomes an observer, he becomes a witness, he doesn't allow himself to be bossed by them. Samadukka sukha swastha samaloshtasmakanchana tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya ninda atma samstutihi. How can one be indifferent to what's happening around him? How can one be indifferent? Who is not indifferent? Who has a value for something that happens around him? Anything that happens around you, anything that you gain or lose, can it prevent your death? Can it prevent your old age? Can it prevent your disease? Do you have a control, full control This should come, that should not come. You have no control. They come in procession. You have to meet old age, you have to die. All these become inevitable. But all these are happening in me, one who is not subject to change, the real God. He has this knowledge. He has no value for the outside world, therefore becomes indifferent. He has the knowledge of himself. He has the knowledge of the outside world. Therefore, he becomes indifferent to anything that happens outside. And that is said here, Swattaha, established in himself, Sama Dukkha Sukhaha, same in Sukha and Dukkha, Samaloshtashmakans, having the same value for a clod of earth, for a stone, or for a diamond, because all of them are finite, useless, cannot give you freedom from death and sorrow. Tulya Ninda, Tulya Priya Apriya. When something pleasurable comes, he is not elated. Something sad comes, he is not depressed. Dhiraha maintains his wisdom, courage. Tulya Ninda Atma Samstutihi. He is not agitated when somebody censures him. Somebody praises him, he doesn't go to cloud number 9. He maintains the same attitude. That man has gone beyond the relative world, beyond the three gunas. Manapamanayoho tulyo mitra aripakshayoho sarvarambha parityagi gunatitaha savuchyate. He is the same in honor and dishonor. He is the same to a friend and an enemy. And he doesn't have the sense of agency. I am doing this. Arambha parityagi. One who doesn't feel I must do this for my fulfillment. Wanting to do something all the time. Arambha parityagi. Such a man, gunatitaha, goes beyond the qualities. Such a man goes beyond the qualities. One word here is important. Same for friend and an enemy. Supposing Mr. X is a friend to Mr. Y, enemy to Mr. Z. What is Mr. X? Is he a friend or an enemy? Mr. X is friend to Y. Mr. X is enemy to Z. So now he is Mr. X friend or enemy. Mr. X is neither friend or enemy. Y sees in Mr. X friend, Z sees in Mr. X enemy. So what you see in one is your own mind. This man has transcended the mind, transcended the likes and dislikes. He is only God in all. Therefore, he has no friend, no enemy. He loves all. Now he gives practical hints how to transcend this mind, how to get established. You cannot detach the mind unless you give it a alternative prop. The nature of the mind is to cling on to something or the other. So if you want the mind to detach, you have to give an alternative prop. That he says here, Mamcha yaha avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samatitya yetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who with unswerving devotion means all the time in every action he sees Bhagavan. In every result, he sees Bhagavan. In and through all his life, he is fully aware of Bhagavan. That is called avyabhicharena, unswerving devotion. Sevate, who serves me, saha, such a person, alone can go beyond the three gunas. Because if you don't have a prop, you cannot go beyond them. And when he goes beyond them, what happens? He becomes Brahman. What is that Brahman? Next shloka says, Brahmano hi pratistaham amrutasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya ekantikasya cha. What is this Brahman? He says, firstly, I am the very abode of Brahman. What is this? We have heard all along, Brahman is the highest. What do you mean by I am the abode of Brahman? When Brahman is said, you have only a concept of Brahman, or you can only see Brahman condition. I am the very source of that conditioned Brahman, or a conceptual Brahman. I am that which is beyond all concepts and all conditionals. Right? So, and it is me that regulates all relative world, starting from Brahmaji, Hiranyagarbha, to the blade of grass. Everybody follows my law. And therefore he says, Shashvatasya dharmasya. I am the protector. I am the immutable of the everlasting dharmas. And my nature is infinite bliss. Because earlier it said you have to go beyond Sukha and Dukkha. Sattva Guna is also Sukha binds. Go beyond. Going beyond, what will I do? I need happiness. He said, the happiness that you gain through gunas is finite. Is finite. They're conditioned. When you go beyond them, it's absolute bliss. That's me. It's absolute bliss. It's not a conditioned happiness. It's not a finite happiness. Therefore, you should reach me, the Brahman, who is the very supporter of the concept and Saguna Brahman. Right? With this, the Lord has helped us to go through 14th chapter, and through His grace, we will be doing the 15th chapter, and there we take a very, very long break myself, and I will be doing Brudaranika in some house, but people who want to join Zoom also can come. But in future, I will not be taking pure online classes. I will be taking only physical classes. Zoom also can be there. So I will be taking, after a month's break, after next class, 15th chapter, 15th chapter will be next class. After that, a month's break. June, I will start Barodharanyaka Upanishad. Some of you who wants to join physically, welcome. Impossible, online. And this particular group, Lalita will take some text to you in Zoom, and your coordinator, the great support is Sri Shankar Nagarajan. So Shankar Nagarajan and Lalita will coordinate and tell you the next course in Zoom. And as for me, I will be taking Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, right? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Amma, Santosh Amma, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.